Hey, what's going on, Lorain County basketball fans? Welcome back to another episode of In the Paint, brought to you by our friends at First Federal Savings of Lorain. I'm your host, Rocco Nushi, with the one and only Kristen Bauer behind the camera. Hope all of you had a very Merry Christmas as we look ahead to the new year. Here's what's been happening on the high school hoop scene here in Lorain County. We had a real fun doubleheader last Thursday, heading into the holiday weekend. Our first game, you heard it on WEOL.com, stream 2 actually. Clearview knocking off Cloverleaf 52-48 in a really hard-fought non-conference game, and we've kind of been the station of Cloverleaf here in the past week. We'll hear more on that in a second. But the Clippers defense has really been flexing their muscles early on this season for Coach Jason Christensen. They forced 19 turnovers against the Colts, and what again was really a hard-fought defensive battle in that one. But Clearview did enough offensively as well to hang on for the win. Junior Aiden Cruz led the way. He had 15 points for the Clippers. Jai Walton right behind him with 14. Cruz and Walton have been a really nice 1-2 punch for the Clippers this season. And then you look at some of the other guys who help out on that roster, like Asai Christensen. They really have some names who can contribute in multiple different ways. Castillo is a heck of a player for them as well. So check out a write-up from them in the Chronicle Telegram. Jim Brady had more from that Cloverleaf game, and Aiden Cruz had a really nice post-game comment talking about this year's team's ability to bounce back, even in situations where, maybe last year, even in previous years before that, they'd get down, kind of hang their heads, let the ball game slip away from them. That's not the case with this year's Clippers team. And again, they hang their hat on the defensive side of the basketball, and defense travels. Whether you're at home, whether you're on the road, defense will work. And so that's kind of been the game plan for the Clippers early on this season. That's how they've been able to find plenty of success, off to a much better start this season than they were last year. And the second game of that doubleheader, not quite as close as Elyria Catholic. Well, they throttled Wellington, no way around it. 89-36 was the final score. Every single EC Panther scored in this basketball game. So I know for the high school kids, what's more fun than that, right? Watching the entire roster get into the scoring column. So hats off to EC. This is a Panther team that they're off to a very good start under new leadership this season. Thomas Nieders led the way against the Dukes. He had 14. Colin Ginley and Johnny Shedrick Jr. each had 12. So again, an EC team off to a real nice start here on the boys' side. They've got some big ones this week against Berea Mid-Park and also Hawken. So let's go to the girls' side as well, where this past week we had the Battle of the McNamaras, and bragging rights for Christmas dinner went to Brittany McNamara Cole as her Lady Middies knocked off Berea Mid-Park 67-32. This was a really fun matchup, of course, with Brittany and her dad, Kevin, the coach of Berea Mid-Park. A nice family battle here. I know Midview, the Lady Middies Twitter account, had a lot of fun with that throughout the week. They had a fat head, I believe, of Kevin, calling him the biggest head in the SWC. But it is the Lady Middies who get bragging rights this season, winning it 67-32. And would have loved to have been a fly on the wall during that Christmas dinner. 22 points, 28 rebounds for Mary Mang of Midview in that win over Berea Mid-Park. That girl is ridiculous, folks. No other way around it. She can do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, does it all for Midview. So, again, that Lady Middies team off to a really nice start. How about Columbia? I feel bad. We have not mentioned the Lady Raiders, I think, as much as we should. And Coach Corey Taylor, he might have some beef with me because of that. Off to a perfect 10-0 start heading into Wednesday. They got a huge win over Firelands last week, a big Lorain County League win to kind of, take the top spot here in the early going of the season. And this is a really deep Columbia team. Now, I know in previous years they've gotten off to good starts, but have kind of tapered off as the year has gone on. But they're out to kind of prove that wrong this season. And it all starts with All-Ohio junior guard Elise Champagne averaging over 10 points per contest. She has really bought into this whole, we're a deeper team than years before. I think she is really excited about what her and her teammates are able to bring to the court this season. So Elise off to a fantastic start, really believing in the depth that her team has. And how about senior forward Mallory Hoddle? She's straight up eating glass, folks. Over 7 rebounds she's snagging per game. So this is a really good Columbia team. They can score, they can play defense, they can rebound the ball, they force turnovers, they can do a little bit of everything, and I've got my eye on them to maybe win that Lorain County League title this season. They've got a big one against Keystone coming up next week, actually. So the Columbia girls and Keystone girls, that'll be a real fun one to watch here upcoming in January. Right now, as far as the standings are concerned, Brookside and Oberlin kind of at the top of the boys' side in the Lorain County League. A really good Brookside team with Coach Larry Babbicks at the helm. Avery Young, their guard, is having a really awesome season, so I like what Brookside's been doing. And how about Oberlin? I know they're without Kurt Russell, National Teacher of the Year, as he kind of makes his worldwide media tour doing radio and TV interviews, and rightfully so. We love Coach Russell. But Coach Phil Payne stepping in this season, and Coach Howard Chambers actually helping out as well, as Coach Payne has been under the weather at times this season. But this is a really good Oberlin team. Some new faces this season, but boy, they have not missed a beat. Just picking up where they left off last season. On the girls' side, again, Columbia and Keystone right at the top. They'll meet the first week of January. That should be a lot of fun there. In the SWC, the Avon Lake boys, who saw this coming? The Shoremen at the top of the conference there. They've had some really nice wins, including over their rival Avon. So Avon Lake off to a really nice start this season. And Olmsted Falls leads the way in the SWC for the girls right now, but those Lady Middies over there in Midview right on their heels in second place. So what's coming up this week on WEOL? We'll have the Joe Tate Classic. I hope you can check the results on that one, as we've got a doubleheader from Cloverleaf. Again, the Joe Tate Classic to honor the late, great Joe Tate. Brookside and Cloverleaf girls and boys will be playing, so make sure you check out the results from that one in the Chronicle Telegram. Elyria Catholic girls game as well this week. They'll take on Cleveland Central Catholic. We'll have that one on WEOL, so make sure you don't miss that. Also later that night, Tiffin will be at Vermilion on the boys' side of the equation. Thursday, big rivalry renewed here as Elyria will be at Lorain. I had this game last year as Isaiah Johnson knocked down a three-point shot at the buzzer for Elyria to stun the Titans and get a big home win for the Pioneers. I don't think Lorain's forgotten about that necessarily, as Coach Keelan and friends look for some revenge this time around. So again, Thursday, big rivalry. Elyria will be at Lorain. I'll actually have the call for you on that one on WEOL. And then Friday, a really good Lorain County League battle here as Columbia takes on Clearview. This Columbia team under Coach Scharf, they've had their moments, still looking for better performances is Coach Scharf, but the same could be said for Clearview as well. But I think this will be a really good defensive battle, as both sides really love to dig in and play some good defense. So it may be a matter of, who can put the ball in the dang bucket throughout the course of the game. We'll see how that plays out Friday night. So again, some really good matchups this week on WEOL, but that Thursday-Friday slate looking really good. Again, Elyria at Lorain on Thursday, and then Friday we'll have Columbia and Clearview. So that'll do it for this week as the teams hit the holiday break. Kids are off school, enjoying some time off. We've still got some action to follow before things really pick back up in the new year. So there's kind of what's been going on here in the high school basketball scene here in Lorain County. And that'll do it for this week. So for Kristen Bauer, I'm Rocco Nucci saying thank you for tuning in to In the Paint, brought to you by our friends at First Federal Savings of Lorain. We'll see you in 2023.